2008 BMW 335i valve cover replacement. I'm Brian Nestle from How to Automotive. I'm going to walk you through the steps of replacing that. To get started, we need to remove the top engine cover, and to do that we're also going to need to remove this cowling up here. So the first thing I'm going to do is right here is where the battery cables go. They route over the top of the engine. So I'm going to pop this cover up like this and pop the cables out. And pop the cable out of the little loom here and kind of just flip it over like that. And I'll do the same thing for the little electrical connector and flip the wires off like that. Next we're going to take this little wire loom holder off. So you're going to grab it on one side here and one side here and equally pull. And that'll pull the whole loom off, and you'll set that aside. Okay, now we need to get the wire loom that's underneath off. A lot of times you can just pull them off, but sometimes there's little catches in here. You take a little flat blade screwdriver right here, and you just push the little tab down right there, and then you pull out, and you'll do the same thing for here and here. And then this wire loom will come down and hang down. You just let it rest on top of the cover. Now that the wire loom is free from the upper portion of the cowling, we're going to remove the cabin air filter cover here. So there's going to be 6 screws. So one here, here, corner, here, here, and here. Remove all those, and this cover will come off and set up. So now we're going to pop the cover off here and here. And to do that, we're just going to pop the rubber little grommet off like this. And then right here on the back, there's a little tab you're going to squeeze and pull. And the cover will come off. You'll do the same thing for the opposite side. On the driver's side here, there's going to be a little wire loom. You're just going to grab the little tabs and pull those off like that. And then there should be either a clip or an 8mm bolt right here. And you'll remove that here. This one's missing on this particular car, but you'll remove it there. And then on the passenger side, you're going to take the ambient air temperature sensor and you're going to twist, quarter turn, and pull out like that. And then you'll pop the clip off here and here. And then, like I said, this one has the bolt that's here. So you'll remove the 8mm bolt, and then you'll lift the whole tray out. Now you're going to take the 4mm Allen here, or the 5mm Allen bolt here, I'm sorry, and remove it. One back here, and then you're going to maneuver the harness out of the way. And right back here is going to be a 4th one. You remove all 4 of the Allens. Once you remove the 4 bolts, then you can lift the cover out and slide it out. Next, we're going to work on removing this air cleaner assembly here. So we're going to start by removing the torque screw here and here, and you're removing this air snorkel. So this will pull out and then off. Next, I'm going to remove the lid for the air cleaner by popping the clips all the way around the box and then pulling the lid off. Go ahead and remove the air filter also and set that aside. Next, I'm going to loosen up the hose clamp here, and then I'm going to pop the brake booster hose here out of the bracket here, like that. Then I'm going to squeeze the little tabs here and separate. The best way to do this is push them in together, squeeze the tab, and then pull the top half of the brake booster hose off, separate it. Then you're just going to swing it out of your way and kind of just tuck it out of your way. So now right here where the battery cables and the wire looms go, they're attached to the bottom of the air box. So you're going to lift this little rubber grommets up like that and pull them off, all 3 of them. And then you're going to loosen up this hose clamp right back here. Now that you got those off, we're going to grab the air cleaner kind of in the corner here and in the corner here, and we're going to pull up on it, and it's held on by these little rubber grommets in a couple spots. So there's a couple back here in the back, right here. So we're going to pop it up. We're just going to lift up on them until they pop out of those rubber grommets, like that. And you kind of just work it. Now you're going to remove the rest of the air box out. Okay, after getting the cowling and cover off, to get the valve cover out, we're also going to need to take out these strut bracings here. So the first thing you're going to need to do is right back here on the firewall is this plug. You're going to turn it, quarter turn like that, and pull the plug out. And you're going to remove the torque bolt here. Then you remove the torque bolt. Once you get them unbolted, you're just going to slide them out from underneath this little grommet here. And just pull them out like that. After getting the bracing out, next I'm going to do is remove the coils. So I'm just going to pop the little connectors open like this and pull the wires off. and do that for all 6. And then I'm going to use a little screwdriver and kind of put it underneath the coil and pry up on it and pop the coil out, and we'll remove all 6 of them and set those all aside. Okay, after getting the coils out, the next step is to unplug the injectors here. So you're going to need like a little screwdriver like this or a pick tool, and put right here, you're going to flare this little tab open a little bit, just like that. I mean, just a little bit, and then you pull the connector out. So when you pull it, also pull from the plastic portion of it. Don't pull from the wires. And just pull it out like that. And this is a better look at the little plastic tab here flaring back. You're just going to flare it back just a little bit, just enough to clear that little notch right there on the connector there. And you pull it off. So you're going to do that for all 6 of the injectors. Pull those all off. After getting all the injectors unplugged, then you're going to go ahead and remove the ground straps that hold it on. So there's going to be one here, and one over here. Just go ahead and remove those bolts and wires, and then you're going to tuck the wires and everything, kind of hold them back like this. Next, right here on the side of the valve covers are 2 vacuum switches. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze the squeeze tabs here and unplug the electrical connectors like that. And we'll do both of them. Then right here where the little metal brackets are, you can squeeze them and they'll come off the unplug right there. And we're just going to tuck the vacuum line, so we'll pop them off like that and tuck them over there like that as far as we can. Then on the wire loom holder here, there's a couple torque bolts. We'll remove here and here. Okay, so now that I got the wire loom unbolted, it's free like this. I went ahead and used a tie strap and kind of just tied the wire looms that hold the battery cables and stuff across. I kind of just pulled them up out of my way. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take off these little crossover pipes that go from the fuel rail to the fuel injectors. You're going to need a 14mm wrench, and you're just going to crack them free. And once you crack them free, you'll take them all the way off, left and right side. And what you're going to do is you're going to take them off and set them in the order that you take them off. So you don't want to mix them all up because they have slightly different little bins on how they go. So I'm going to take them off and put them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and just lay them out on my little bench so they don't get messed up. Okay, now that we got the fuel rails off, we need to get this vent line off in the back here. It goes around over here. So the way I'm going to take them off is right here on the sides. So you just put a little screwdriver here and you kind of flare them just a little bit, just a tiny little flare like that on the left and right side. And when you got them flared, then you push it off, and you'll do the same thing for this one back here. But these break really easily, so you don't want to flare them very much. Just a little flare will do, just like that on both sides. So you use 2 screwdrivers and then push it off. Okay, once you get the vent line off, right here are the wires for the O2 sensors and stuff. So they're gonna be attached to the wire looms here. So you're gonna pop them out there, and right about here there'll be another wire loom. You'll pop them out here, and then you'll follow them around and just pop them all out of the little brackets and stuff that they're mounted to. So you pop them all out. That gives you a little bit more slack. You may notice that my oil filter housing is missing because I'm doing another video that'll be out too. So, but yours will have an oil filter housing. But right next to the oil filter housing is these 2 vacuum lines right here that are going in. We need to disconnect these, and most likely they're most likely gonna detonate on you or fall apart on you. So possibly be prepared to replace those. But you need to pop these 2 lines off here and here, and then what we're gonna do is pop these 2 vacuum fittings off the valve cover right here, and they go over the valve cover like this. And what we're gonna do is pop them out and kind of flare them over here and tuck them out of our way. You also may want to make reference marks for which line went to which. Once you get them disconnected from this side, like I said, I'll just kind of tuck them out of my way. So I'll flare them out and kind of put them over here like this. Okay, now that the vacuum lines are all disconnected, the wiring harness has been removed, the fuel line's been removed, the vent line's been removed. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start in the corner here, and I'm going to start removing. I'm going to go in a counterclockwise direction. I'm going to start removing the bolts all the way around. So I'll just keep following them around until I remove all of them all the way around the perimeter of the valve cover. Then after you get all of those removed, so then I'm going to start here, I'm going to follow it around and whatever's connected to the valve cover, not the injector. I'm going to leave the injectors in there. So I'll remove the bolt down here, 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 and keep going all the way around on the inside perimeter, and remove all the torque bolts that are on the inside perimeter next. To get the bolts with the studs on it off, you're going to need an extremely deep 10mm socket. This one happens to be made by Snap-on, and they fit perfectly on there to remove. Now that all the bolts are been removed, the next step we need to do is remove these little heat tube seals here. And the way you do that is if you have a pick tool like this, inside the tubes the tube seals here is they have these little holes right there. And what you do is you put the tip of your pick in there like this, and you kind of just give it a little twist and pry, and then you'll have to switch back and forth between this one and this one, and kind of twist and pry like this. And also you may have to put a screwdriver on this side right here. So you'll a flat blade screwdriver, and you'll pick right here, and there's a little lip right here that you got to get it past. And once you get it past that lip, it'll slide. The tube seal will slide up and out like that. So you'll do that for all 6 of them, and that'll help give you the clearance to get the valve cover out of the car. And if you accidentally mangle one a little bit up, they're not very expensive. I'll leave links for these in the description of the video. And also, if it's just minorly bent like this one is here, you probably just bend it back into shape and reuse it. But I'll leave that up to you. So the fuel rail is pinched right up against the valve cover here, and it doesn't want to come out. So what I'm going to do is loosen up the nut here and remove that. And then these wire looms, they're held on there, so if you grab them from the bottom and pull them this way and rotate them off, so you rotate them around, and then you pop them up like that, and they'll pop off the fuel rail. Then after that, you can go ahead and remove. There's 4 bolts. They happen to be 11mm bolts. So there's gonna be one there, one here, and one here towards the front. Go ahead and remove those, and then the fuel rail, you can take it off, and we're just gonna set it over here on top of the intake. Okay, now what I like to do is use a pair of needle nose pliers like this, and get in here and pop out as many of the bolts all the way out like that as you can get. Go all the way around as many as you can remove. That'll help when you start lifting it up and pulling it out, because these bolts like to snag on things as you're coming out, so it helps. So now I put a little screwdriver right here on the corner and popped it and pried the valve cover up, and it's free. Now we're just going to start maneuvering things out of our way and working the valve cover up as high as we can get it, and then out towards the front of the car. So I'm going to grab the wiring harness like this and pull it up as high as I can like that out of my way. And you can either bungee cord it or have somebody else hold it out of your way. So after lifting the harness out of the way like that, I was able to lift it straight up and work it out of the car just like that. Now our next step is going to be to peel off any of the old gasket material like this and clean up the mating surfaces all the way around the valve cover, including on the inside port. And also, you're going to thoroughly inspect and make sure that nothing fell in the motor as you took the cover off, and try to, if anything fell in, try to retrieve anything, and then you're just going to clean all this debris and surface up as best you can. Okay, after getting our valve cover all cleaned up, we're going to reinstall the new gasket, and sometimes you have to glue these in depending on how well the gasket will fit in the, sometimes they're a little thicker and they fit really well, and sometimes they kind of want to fall out. So if they're in need to be glued in, I would recommend that you use 3M black super weather adhesive, and you'll put a thin little bead in the track, I mean really thin, and that'll hold the gasket in. Okay, now that the gasket's resecured into the valve cover, mine's fitting pretty well, so I'm not going to use any glue. I'm just going to try to leave it in there without the glue. Now we're going to go ahead and make sure your wiring harness is pulled up as high as you can all the way around, tucked out in the back. Now you're just going to stab it in there, and just being careful not to snag the gasket on the way in. As you're going in, also you want to stop here periodically and check the gasket fit, make sure it's not falling out. See how it's coming out just a little bit over here, so we can just stop and tuck it back in. Now that the gasket's back in, you can take a dental mirror like this, and you want to run around the edge of the gasket and make sure that it didn't fall out or fall into the and also you can stick it down in the tubes here like this, and you can see the gasket. So you're going to check all the way around and take your time and double check, make sure the gasket didn't fall off. Okay, well, now that the bolts are the valve cover is on, we need to torque the valve cover down. So you're just going to start in the center. So you're going to what I like to do is start with the center bolts here, and I'll torque this bolt here, and then this one over here, this one here, and then I'll switch the top and here, and keep doing this crisscross pattern, switching from top to bottom, until you get the whole cover torqued down. Now I tried looking up the specs for the torque, and I couldn't find the exact spec for the cover torque. So I tightened them down, and then once I got them snug, I gave them about a quarter turn more, and you just want to make sure they're all kind of equal. Okay, now we're going to reinstall the tubes. I mangled a couple of mine in taking them out, so I ordered a set, and here are the part numbers for it. I'll put a link for these in the description in case you mangle a couple of yours coming out too. And so we're just going to slide them down with the slot like this, facing towards the passenger side of the car, like the way we took them out, and just slide them straight down until they lock into place. And you can use a little flat blade screwdriver on the edge and push them in until they lock. Now you can reattach the fuel rail. You'll make sure the fitting slides in like that, and then go ahead and start the 4 bolts on it and tighten those up, and then you'll snap over your wire loom back over and secure that. After you get the rail bolted down, you're going to take a 17mm wrench and tighten up the fitting. Now that the fuel line is re-secured, the rail on you, now you can take the wire loom here that tucked in behind the valve cover. There's a little grooves. Go ahead and re-secure those in the back here, and then after that we're going to put the little elbow vent line that went back on. So it went from here to here. You just push it on. So after reinstalling the vent line here, the next thing I'll do is take my vacuum hoses that I flipped through here and route them back over, tuck them under the fuel rail, and then reconnect the 2 vacuum hoses. Next, we can take all the little fuel injection pipes that we laid out, and we can reinstall these. And you're going to do all 6 of them, and tighten all the fittings down. So after getting the fuel rails re-secured, I'm going to take my wiring harness and lay it back down on top of the engine, kind of the way it goes. And I'm going to plug in my vacuum switches here, both of those, and then I'm going to route my vacuum lines back the way they came off. So I'll put them back over onto these little tabs here, and then all the wires that went, and re-secure all the wires in the looms that went below here on the back side of the valve cover right there, and re-secure all that. Then you can re-secure the bolts that held the wire loom to the cover. Then you can take the little brown ground wires and put them on the post, start the 8mm bolts and tighten them down. There's 3 of them, so you'll do all 3 of them, and then after you get that done, then you can take your injectors and plug them back in. And the wiring harness pretty much lays exactly where this, so you're pretty much going to get the right ones once you lay it out like that. So go ahead and tighten the ground straps up, and then plug the injectors back in. Now you can take all 6 of your coils, install them into the tubes, and you just press them in until they fully seat. Then you're going to take the connector, plug it in like that, and push it in as far as you can, and then close the door like that, and do all 6 of them. So now we can go ahead and reinstall our strut bracing, and since it's slotted on this end, you can go ahead and start the bolt there first, and then you're going to slide it through the little grommet right here until it slides underneath the bolt, and then you'll line up the tab on the strut tower, and you'll tighten the bolts down. Now you can go ahead and reinstall the plug, and it just slide it like that, and give it a quarter turn to the right. Now we're going to reinstall the lower portion of the air box. So this port's going to go into the boot here, this port's going to go into the boot here, and then these little rubber grommets are going to line up with these little posts here and here, and there's gonna be one here on the opposite side here that are all gonna line up, and you'll push it down and lock it into place. And then once it's in there, then you'll reinstall the harnesses that mounted onto the little tabs on this port here. Okay, after securing the bottom portion of the air box, including tightening the clamps in the back, put your air filter in and then install your lid. So they'll scoop under, snap down and snap all the clips on. Brake booster hose here and route it through and clip it into its port here and make sure it snaps and clicks together, and give it a tug to make sure it doesn't pop back out, and also pop it back into the air box right now. At this point, we could start the vehicle and check all of our fuel or fittings and make sure we don't have any leaks or anything like that. And if everything's good there and it's running nice and smooth, we can go ahead and install our top engine cover. Now we'll install the air snorkel. So you'll install it, the nose in first, and install the port here, and then install the 2 screws right here. Now we're going to take this portion of the package tray, and these little tabs right here have to hook under right here. So if your little weather stripping has popped off, you want to put that back on, and it's got to hook under like that and then drop down. Once you get it tucked in there like that, in the corners there's going to be a little rubber boot. You're going to line up this slot, push it in, and also there's going to be 8mm bolt at 1 in each corner. Go ahead and start those. Now the covers that went on each side, left and right side, you go ahead and re-secure those. So you'll line those up, and they just have the little clips in the corners in the back. It just snaps on. And then there's a little rubber portion of the boot here in the corner that you'll. Then the little wire loom that was secure, you just remount them to the little brackets and push them on. This one's not plugged into anything on this particular vehicle. On other vehicles, it may have a different setup where something's plugged into it, but this one's capped off. So you're just gonna re-secure them onto the brackets. On the passenger side, you'll take the ambient air temperature sensor and you'll line it up like with the tab, turn it until it locks in place, and then reinstall the mounting clips. Now you're going to reinstall the cabin air filter and then install all the screws, and that will complete the job of replacing the valve cover. I'm Brian Eswick from How To Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching my videos, encourage you to subscribe, invite you to head over to the howtoautomotive.com website for more valuable videos like this. And remember, I'll be putting links in the description of the video for all the tools and parts that I use in this video. And I'd like to thank you again for watching.